Hold on for a second. What's up, YouTube family? I would like you guys to make sure you like and subscribe to our video. It would help us get into the algorithms so we can be seen and bring more engaging content to you guys. So like I said, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Appreciate you. And welcome to another edition of the Pick and Downs podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P-Bush. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. The Knicks are back at the true Mecca, man. You can call Madison Square Garden the Mecca of basketball again, man. Unbelievable playoff performance. I know we'll get into it a little bit later. Got a big swing game tonight with Game 5 on the West Series. Best of 3. This is gonna decide it all, and really one that we've been looking at all regular season. So playoffs have lived up to the hype. You know, it's been good series, solid series, and great series. And hopefully these next 3 games, potentially 2, but hopefully 3 in the West are just as exciting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Down in Madison Square Garden, it is an absolute apocalypse of Knicks fans celebrating. They had to call in a full police squad, man. A police squad, MSG, the fans going crazy. It looked like that scene from the Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, man.
There you go.
That's what it looked like when the fans, people running around up on the garden, people dancing on restaurants, jumping on signs, jumping on subways, man. People doing some wild stuff right now.
It's New York.
It's been 27 years. It's been 27 years since they made the NBA Finals. It was 1999. I was 3 years old, so it's been a long, long time since they made the finals. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment for New Yorkers, especially for those die-hard New York fans.
Mm-hmm.
They saw some absolute tragedy of teams, like abomination of teams. So seeing them make that turnaround from an absolute joke of a franchise to a competent franchise and made some couple of savvy moves and got a new coach in, got all the pieces fitting in. And I still remember when playing the Hawks when they had that bad loss against the Hawks. Like, shoot.
A little nervous.
Got a little nervous right there, but ever since then, absolute massacre of games. I believe on an 11-game winning streak right now. They haven't lost in a month. They've been closing out teams at an average of 39 points per game in closeout games.
Crazy.
Absolute insanity.
I can't help to think, but obviously the Knicks getting to the finals is front page news. But what if this starts and you could say the Knicks, I would say, even though they playoff success and, I guess going to the final success hasn't been there the last 27 years, but they're one of the blue blood franchises in NBA. Like, what if this starts the run of like the blue blood franchises coming back and this spills over to the NFL?
I really hope so. I hope you're right.
If the Cowboys, because the hysteria with the Knicks obviously is one of one because they've just suffered the longest in the NBA. But just now fast forward and see if somehow the Cowboys just got there. I just, we're going to see who they're going to end up playing. But I do want to see the Knicks thriving in that finals environment. And even though I'm not a Cowboys fan, I would love to see the Cowboys fandom just be able to celebrate and be in that type of, where the Knicks can go crazy. Like, I don't think the Cowboys fans would go as insane in Fort Worth or Arlington, wherever they're located. But I do think it would be a sight to see. So it's just really cool to see their fans who have suffered. And for the most part, most of the Knicks fans in my life, which I maybe have 2 or 3, that I know, like they are diehard. It's not the, the whole hoopla when it was, KD, Kyrie, James Harden, all them with the Nets. Like maybe you want to just switch sides for a little bit because you saw all that talent. Like, no, they know which team they root for and they're diehard. So it's really cool to see them celebrate. So good job on their part. And we'll be talking about them a little bit later. But I wanted to start with this series that is 2-2 over in the West with the Spurs. Pretty much handling and it's been back and forth, but handling OKC in the last game and tying it all up. So I wanted to get the guys' opinions on this best of 3 and how they think it's going to go. On P-Bush, what's your thoughts?
I mean, it's a clean series now. It's best of 3, like I said earlier, like you just said, Sean. And looking at both these teams, they were both kind of banged up in different ways. Obviously Dylan Harper got banged up in the middle of that game. I think game 3, I believe he had to step out pretty much the entirety of the second half. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox missed the first 2 games for them. And then on the other side with OKC, they've been without Jalen Williams for a couple games with his godforsaken hamstrings that, he just paid the man and now his hamstrings don't work. And we're all avid or NFL fantasy football players. We know what a soft tissue injury can cause in the long term as well as in the short term in pretty much any high level professional sport. But apparently he's questionable tonight. I know they tip off here in about 15 minutes. Curious to see if I'm sure they've announced whether he's sitting or not. But, missing him, then they miss AJ Mitchell, right? We talk about him. He had that monster series against the Lakers. It's been relatively quiet in this Spurs series. I do think the perimeter defense of the Spurs is getting to him a little bit. And you could argue vice versa for the Spurs backcourts against the Oklahoma City perimeter defenders. This has really been a perimeter defense series. It's Sean, I think you made this point. It has fluctuated from game to game. I mean, you watch one game outside of game 1, that was just one of the best NBA games I've seen in a long time with that Wembanyama 3, that we talked about last time. Outside of that game, although they felt like relatively close games, except for game 4, like they're well over 10-point differentials, right? Like one team has usually kind of been dominating. Remove Wembanyama out of the game. He's going to have his game pretty much every night. But if you can hold him to 26 points like they did in one of the games, that's much better than him dropping 41 and 24 or, 28 and 17, whatever it might be. So Wembanyama is going to get his if you're Oklahoma City. Last week I talked about how they needed to switch Hartenstein on. I thought they did that really well in game 2. That's exactly what they did, and it got them that game tying win to force a 1-1 series going into San Antonio. But the core for me, man, has just been kind of the bad point guard play. I mean, De'Aaron Fox I get it. He was coming off the injury and everything, but you could point to Stephon Castle, who filled in for him, and all the turnovers. I mean, he's averaging over 6 turnovers a game. I know, Zoo, we talked about this in pre-production. He isn't a true point guard, and you can't ask him to do this, especially adding in his experience factor as well. This really being his first playoff run, and you're putting all that pressure on him. You have no choice, but it is showing, okay, going forward, however long De'Aaron Fox is going to be there, they need to bring in a true point guard because he fits better as like a secondary ball handler. Reminds me a little bit of like an Andrew Nembhard kind of type, like he can play point guard a little bit, but you can't really trust him fully to run your entire offense. And then on the other side with OKC, the MVP is shooting under 40% in this series, man. 39% from the field. I mean, they have done an excellent job at shutting down the Stars for this Oklahoma City Thunder team. The second one being, where's Chet Holmgren, man? I haven't seen him in the full series. He's put out his highest points per game, 14? Has he put up more than 14 points? I mean, come on, man. I get it. You're playing Wembanyama, and that's fine. Did you forget you're also over 7 feet tall? I know the dude's got 3 inches on you, but that's never stopped, I don't know, Anthony Edwards attacking a 6'8" small forward, right? It's one and the same. I get the length is an issue. Maybe it's the physicality, but Wembanyama's not a huge dude. Right? I don't get it. So whether he needs to be shooting the ball a little bit more, maybe he doesn't trust his jump shot enough. Maybe he's just Wemby's so in his head and he's so scared of attacking the basket that he just has zero confidence in the series. It's not like he's jacking up 15 shots a game. I understand that. But if you're going to be paid that much and your other major star, Jalen Williams, has been banged up a lot of these playoffs, let alone just this series, you need to be the guy that steps up, not relying on Alex Caruso to give you 22 to 30 points a game, man. He'll give you maybe 2 of those games in this series. And he's had a very good series outside of game 4, which the entire OKC team absolutely crapped the bed in game 4. But you need these other guys to step up. They don't have AJ Mitchell to kind of fill in for that. Jalen Williams, like I said, he's banged up. How much can you rely on a Cason Wallace and Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins? I mean, I know this team's deep and everyone talks about how great every draft pick that they have. But when you're talking about playing against the caliber of this Spurs team, you can't be having all these holes. And I'm honestly surprised that it's a 2-2 series, but maybe it was De'Aaron Fox being out the first 2 games. I do think the Spurs should have been up 2-0 going back into San Antonio. They just couldn't get it done. But yeah, it's a toss-up for me. I can't choose in this series because it's been so back and forth. So I'm going to lean with the Spurs. I picked them at the beginning. I think they're going to come through, but they are going to have to steal a game in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this game definitely is back and forth right now
It's insane.
because the Spurs obviously Wembanyama had a virtuoso performance for game one, but then Thunder's hit back-to-back games where they were kind of a beatdown games where they were fully in control of the games. Spurs never really was in that close of a striking distance of winning the game, so full control. After that, I was like, maybe OKC are going to take control and go up 3-1. Nope, absolute annihilated. They dropped 82 points.
It's ridiculous.
That is a 90s basketball. Like 82 points versus 103. Like absolutely, like 33% from the field, 18% from three. 18% from three. So obviously the defense made some adjustments of not double teaming Shea every single play and playing some man-on-man defense and helping the passing lanes and slowing down the three-point attack. And the role players kind of looked like role players. Like they had off games and they weren't shooting the lights out. Where when OKC wins is when their role players are rolling, they're getting great looks and just open threes, right?
Jared McCain.
He's been awesome. He's been awesome.
Been
like
great.
the role player's been hitting a lot of their threes. Everyone comes in, does their role. Even Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, comes in and hits some threes. So pretty much it's all about the role players with this series. And when they got pretty much shut down by making some defensive adjustment by the San Antonio Spurs, I'm like, okay. If the Spurs pull this off right now, I'm like, this is a team that go from no playoffs to playoffs and go into the finals. I still feel like they need that punch in the face and that failure of losing and some heartbreak. Because right now, they kind of just rolling. They just kind of went from not even being the playoff team to the finals. Like we saw what happened with the New York Knicks. There was a lot of heartbreak, right? Especially last year against Indiana, where I was like, oh, this is the year. Like he can take care of this Indiana team. But they got a little more banged up, and Indiana took care of business. They had some absolute choke jobs in that game one against Indiana, and Indiana pretty much snatched their soul and made it to the finals. Where San Antonio this team is young, they're ahead of schedule. Like I had them as a breakout team, but 62 wins and being a championship contender was not in my projection right now. Like what they've done is they're ahead of schedule. All their players are super, super young on their rookie contract. So for me personally right now, because I'm watching this OKC teams play still, and there's still that elite OKC team, but you're right, SGA, the MVP, he's not getting as many calls as he used to in the regular season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So good.
We know
he is passing well, though. He has
to pass a little more, but the efficiency is what we praise SGA for. Efficiency. 50% from the field, gets to the free throw line, high efficiency, 39%. So he's a high volume, low percentage shooter this series. I'm like, okay, San Antonio is doing something right. Shout out to Stephon Castle. Shout out to all the rest of the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama and those boys down there because they're forcing SGA in some tough shots. And some of his acting and him taking contact and going into defenders and falling down. They call a little less fouls in the playoffs, which is a great thing. So you got to play through a little more physicality. But like we saw Hartenstein get real physical with Wembanyama, and they no calls. And low-key, they were fouls, but that's just the beast of the NBA playoffs where they allow physicality and they reward players that show physicality and are able to play through it. Well, SGA, especially the last two games, he's been kind of struggling. Even game one, obviously game one, he shot 30%. That was one of his worst games still. But the last two games, 6 for 15, 6 for 17, the efficiency has dropped significantly. And now with the injuries piling up on this team now, like they need 30 points from SGA.
Yep.
Absolutely. They need him because there's no AJ Mitchell. J-Dub is injured again. And as you mentioned, Chet Holmgren. He's kind of a ghost right now, man.
He is a ghost.
He's kind of a guy. He's in Wemby's shadow. Like that's what he is right now because Wembanyama is putting on an all-time performance of another 33 ball, hitting a half-court shot, just doing a little of everything. And what Wembanyama has done with him has kind of sunned him. Like, we ain't the same class. I know. Because the crazy part is Chet Holmgren's all NBA 13.
Yeah.
Like, Chet Holmgren's an all NBA guy. He got his big contract, so he should be able to match up decently well with Wembanyama. Obviously, no one's Wembanyama, but as to show a fight. But Wembanyama against the defending champs is putting up 30 points a game, 13 rebounds, which I like because usually he's not that great of a rebounder in the regular season. 13 rebounds, so he's averaging a lot more in the postseason. 4 assists a game. He's not known as a great passer. Like, he's a good passer for a big, but he's not known as a passer. But 4 assists a game.
And his splits.
3 blocks, 1 steal. So, getting those stocks, but that efficiency. 53 from the field. And that dude taking a lot of jump shots. 43 from the 3-point line.
That's up 8% from the regular season.
That's crazy. And he's taking like half-court shots.
Yep.
This dude, that's encompassing taking some heaters, like where he just chucks it from deep. And 88 from the line from your center position. So, like, he took that MVP personally right now because looking based on this series, Wembanyama is the MVP because he also got some injuries he's got to deal with his roster because, as you mentioned, De'Aaron Fox, that ain't the De'Aaron Fox I saw in Sacramento.
No.
But maybe he's past his prime now, even though he's not even that old. But De'Aaron Fox is not the same guy in the San Antonio uniform versus Sacramento where he was borderline all-NBA caliber point guard.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, Harper got banged up, and we saw post-injury with the lower extremities, not the same player. He's lost his explosiveness, his productivity and the scoring-wise, not as good. And I don't know if he's going to be 100% this series, that is a huge factor for me. Like, Dylan Harper being banged up is a massive, massive issue for me. But going to the series, I went with OKC because of the experience. I'm going to stick with them now. But it's going to take, like, Wembanyama can't have regular games of 21 points. Like, that was his lowest scoring.
28 plus.
Yeah, you need it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because De'Aaron Fox with Harper not being 100%, and those are your better scorers, like, you're relying on role player like Sham Penny to, like, get buckets. Like,
Vassell's been a beast.
Vassell has been shooting really well. Vassell's been shooting really, really well. But as you go deeper into the bench, Keldon Johnson, kind of a non-factor, even though he won 6th man of the year. It's kind of a non-factor. Carter Bryant, I saw him crying on the bench. Wembanyama had to give him a tissue. Like, Luke Cornett, kind of a non-factor offensively. So you're talking about this roster right now. It's a nice, cute roster, but you're talking about star players and scoring. Like, Stephon Castle's probably been the most productive secondary scorer on the team. And I think he's still developing his game, but I think he could be a really, really good player. But he's still not there offensively yet. The shooting is still not there.
42%, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just not. He had that atrocious game where he went 1 for 8. So he had a 1 for 8 type game. So, and 5 for 14 game. So, but he's been their second leading scorer with 17 points a game. So Wembanyama needs to be in the high 20s, like close to 30. I'm not giving too aggressive at 30, but you got to be 28, 29 per game, high volume, carrying the offense. Because the guy that they brought him, De'Aaron Fox, is supposed to be the guy that helps him out. No, instead of a Robin, he's more of like an Alfred right now. So, like, that's why I need Wembanyama to not be Batman. I need him to be Superman. I need him to be Thanos. I need him to be everything right now because he doesn't really got a secondary score that he can rely on.
Yeah.
While OKC right now, SGA, they got.
He doesn't either, though.
He doesn't have his, and he also doesn't have his secondary score or third score. So we'll see the MVPs face off because offensively, their production is inside the series.
It's been a defensive battle.
Exactly. I'm gonna lean OKC, but in my heart, I'm kind of rooting for the Spurs. Wembanyama and MSG is something that I'm ready to watch. But I would still actually be a little surprised if OKC don't take this series out in 6 or 7. So I'm gonna lean OKC for now, but rooting for the Spurs.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Rooting for the Spurs, just because Shea's flopping has gotten a little bit. They bring the comparisons with Harden, and I think why SGA offends me more is because it's more of his when he's jump shooting. It's just he's looking. It's almost like when he's making just a regular jump shot, he's looking to see where he can land to like kind of land on your feet. Because then it's kind of hard to argue the landing zone when you land on someone's feet. But it's like you got to think about the intention. It's like, are you like landing in your normal zone, or are you trying to land near the feet and then when your body floats? Because I can't really get mad at the refs because they're just they're trying to keep up with the pace of the game. Now they are aware of who is doing it, and it's SGA. So you could be in the back of your head as a ref, be like, okay, we gotta not give him every one of these calls because it's just like that would slow down the game and muck it up. But it is a little disheartening watching how SGA just on either jump shots or even pump fakes trying to get to the rim. It just looks unnatural, and that makes me not, like I say, OKC because of that. But for me, part of what I think has caused SGA's shooting splits is not just Stephon Castle, which has been the number one reason, I would say, but like they got other guys, Vassell, Keldon Johnson, they got other bigs, not bigs, but like wings that can kind of switch off when Stephon Castle is not wanting to be the number one, I guess you would say, defender of him. So I think that's kind of bothered SGA a little bit.
Yep.
For me, I think with the Spurs, Castle, I think, has to be the guy in terms of being that primary secondary scorer for Wembanyama. Because to your point, Fox is just injured. And with Dylan Harper, you know, he's a crafty player, but no one would explain his game as like super explosive. So like if you're already kind of just like a crafty scorer, he's left-handed, he can get to the bucket. When you're already in that good to great athlete and you're hampered, now you're just an okay athlete. He still is really skilled and can play, but it's just not going to be as well. He's not going to fit in as well as like the scorer that they need, that the Spurs would need. So that's why I think Vassell is probably number 3. And you can almost make an argument for him being number 2 because Castle, if OKC's smart, they're going to put a lot of, I mean, they already got coverage on Wembanyama, but they're going to put more coverage on Castle, and that means Vassell's going to have more open shots. So he's got to hit and knock down his shots, which I think he's capable. He can be capable of doing. You know, Chet, to me, I think, I don't know if he's getting caught up in the I want to battle Wembanyama, and that maybe that's gotten in his head, and that's why he's not playing to his standard, besides just going out there and playing and not trying to compare himself to Wembanyama, because you're going to lose that battle 10 times out of 10 because it's Wembanyama. Like, sorry, you're not him. But, like, you could be on par or battle or play just as well if you just focused on who you are as a player, because Chet's biggest thing I would say right now in terms of what his biggest skill is his defense. Because to me, I think that's why he got on the All-NBA team. Like, if you look at the stats, they're not insane stats.
No.
But I think it's just because his proximity to OKC being a great team and him being the anchor defensively for them, you know, he gets on that team, which is the third team, so nobody's screaming and yelling about it. But it's tough because even though his calling card is being a defensive anchor, it's hard to be a defensive anchor against a guy who's 7'5", 7'6". Like, it's just not going to happen. So unless you're affecting the other guys like Castle and Devin Vassell, whoever else is playing for the Spurs, it's kind of hard to be effective. So the only way you can see him making an impact is if he becomes an offensive threat. And I just don't think his game is there yet. I don't think he's a guy who, you know, if Shea goes out for a play or two or a half, like, okay, we're going to run our offense to Chet. I just don't see it. No. And I don't think in this iteration of what OKC is, he has been able to develop that skill set. Because I don't want to say he can't do that. Because, like, say if he was playing for Detroit and he was behind Cade, maybe he has that skill set now. Maybe he has it because he's asked to do more. But I just, right now in his maturation as a player, that's just not what he's going to do. So I think people get caught up in, you know, where he got drafted. I don't want to say summer highlights, but just him running around, you know, going through the legs, doing whatever, shooting threes. They were like, okay, he should be able to translate to the NBA game. But I think a lot of it with the NBA and really in any sport, but it's just like your role. And his role on that team is to hit open threes, make a play every once in a while, and be a defensive anchor. And I just think they always say styles make fights. And it's just tough with OKC, like, or the Spurs, like what the matchup they bring. I just don't see what he can do. So I'm not as tough on him, but it does say something that I think the stat I had is he has 45 points through 4 games. Like, even still, you should be doing a little bit more. Like,
at least 15
like that.
a game. 15 a game.
Yeah, you could do more. Like, and Lou Dort's the other guy I want to call out. Like, I mean, 15 points in 4 games. Like, I don't even know. You would almost think it has to be injury.
So bad.
That's Keith Bogan.
Like, it has to be injuries. Like, it has to be injuries. Like, because that I don't even. I know you could maybe make the point of like, well, what are you asking? What are you asking him to do? Like, you're asking him to be a defensive guy, which I do understand. But I haven't seen Stephon Castle or Dylan Harper just go quiet. So where's Lou Dort? What is he doing? Like, is he shutting down Devin Vassell? I guess I don't know. Like, what is he doing to where he's only scoring 15 points? I don't get it. So I don't know. I find myself like, dude, like, I'm rooting for the Spurs mainly because of Wemby and like I like their young players. But I'll just go back to what I said last pod. Like, OKC just needs to be their game 7. They just cannot go down, because I think they go down in this game. It wouldn't be shocking if they got to game 7, and then all bets are off because it's game 7. But boy, you want to talk about do or die. You go down 3-2 and they got to go into the Spurs. Like, I'm not saying it would be rigged, but they're gonna do whatever they can do to get Wemby in the finals. So I mean, you need to, and that's saying a lot considering OKC is the quote unquote darling because they get the shade calls and they won last year. But some things are bigger than the program, and I think Wemby would get a lot of calls in San Antonio. I'll just put it that way.
Yep, that's when you bet on a nice little Wemby virtuoso game. A nice little 40 points plus rebounds right there.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
So. And I have to say, as the farther the series goes, the more I'm going to lean Spurs because we got definitely take in consideration fatigue of last year.
For sure.
Like, they went 7 games in the finals. Like, this team is exhausted. It's absolutely exhausted. So right now, Spurs last year they were in Cancun. Like, they were on vacation. They young. They are younger than the Thunder, which is also a very, very young team. But we're seeing these injuries pile up now, and it's not a coincidence because when you put your body through a dreadful 7-game series in the finals, going back and doing it again, it's a different level. That is a different level of physicality and athleticism you need to do to put your body in shape to do that and coming back the next year. So what they did in the regular season was that impressive because they were able to come back and win 64 games, be the highest win team in the regular season. So they were rolling, but man, they're playing against the Spurs team where I think they're hungrier, man. Like, they haven't eaten yet. Like, Victor Wembanyama wants it all, as I have said multiple times. So he is going at this team with just a little extra something on the chip on the shoulder right now. So I think the longer this series goes, even though OKC is the team with more experience, man, that fatigue and the physicality is gonna hit them even harder. So I feel like Thunder in their mind, let's win the next 2, take care of them in 6 games. Instead of a dreadful game 7, even though it's on their home court, that pressure, that physicality, fatigue, all the pressure is going to be on the Thunder.
The only thing about that, Zoo, is if it did go to game 7, it might give them a chance to get Jalen Williams and AJ Mitchell back 100% healthy. I think that's the only thing is if it goes 7, that there is a chance that those guys can be back in. And just as you were talking about him, I think Lou Dort might have just hit a
Lou Dort just scored a layup. Yeah, I was just about to say.
There you go.
He literally just hits a layup. So maybe he goes for a 20 ball tonight. Who knows?
Yeah, there you go. Put your bets, everyone.
But speaking of teams who we were talking about, Cancun, the disgusting, absolutely
Galveston, Texas.
that is literally their consolation prize. That's what you get for making the conference finals. Your Cleveland Cavaliers. Just nobody ever wants to say, and you're never going to hear me claim that a team quit or players quit, but it looked like the Cavs kind of just lost their wind after that embarrassing lead they lost at the beginning of the series, and it just went all the way downhill. And now we're once again looking at a postseason where Donovan Mitchell, even though he got to the conference finals, I guess that's an accomplishment, is looking on the outside, looking in again. And it kind of sucks too because it's the Knicks because there was those rumors a couple years ago that he was kind of going there. So
I was mention that.
Like
Donovan Mitchell's looking on their side. It's like, man, Jalen Brunson's living my dream right now. Like,
literally,
that guy, it should have been me. That should have been me leading the team, winning Eastern Conference MVP with the Larry Bird Trophy, leading my favorite team growing up. Like, he's living his dream, right now, which is
he had to watch
hilarious. He had to watch it. I'm just like, oh my god.
So Jalen Brunson is official. He's just a not better, but a way better player than Donovan Mitchell. It's just now it's official. Like, it's not close. Because I don't know if we can get. See, that's the thing. It's so weird.
He actually passes the ball. He can assist.
Okay, Donovan Mitchell showed that he can pass a little too.
He averaged 4 assists? That's worse than Wembanyama. Come on, man.
I don't know because I just now that I'm.
He does nothing other than score the ball.
Yeah,
and he's a great scorer.
Yeah, basically, it's like, Zoo, what are your thoughts on Cleveland? What should their plan in the offseason should be? For I guess the entire franchise, Donovan Mitchell, whoever. What should their plan be?
Man, Dan Gilbert. Hey, LeBron. I'm sorry, man. Come on.
I knew that was a layup. I knew that was coming.
I'm like, yo. I thought we get some young draft pick, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. These young guys we actually get a trade. Donovan Mitchell, an actual All-Star. I'm sorry, man. We need you. you're the guy. James Harden, we're gonna trade. We're gonna get rid of. We're gonna do as much as we can to get rid of that James Harden contract, even though he opting in.
Oh, he's 100% opting in.
Sure.
He opting in because
Yes.
I don't know if you saw that press conference interview post the series, and he's like, "How do you think you did?" He's like, I thought I did great in this playoffs, man. Like I was a playmaker. I was playing great defense. Notice how he doesn't say anything about scoring because he was kind of an ass.
But he said defense?
Yes, defense. That was the first thing he mentioned. First thing. So, obviously, we saw that jump shot him. He had more turnovers and scored field goals again, man, in a closeout game. So, James Harden is going to be hard to overcome, but that's the business they signed up with when they traded for him. They traded for this guy.
It happens every year with James Harden. They just
my God, Cleveland, man. Like they should have been patient and waiting on Darius Garland's injury because that was the main reason. They just got to get a little impatient with Garland's injury. But we know the story about James Harden. Nothing's really changed in accountability. My God, he just never shows accountability and he played like ass again. Like he didn't even look at the basket. He's like, I was a great playmaker. Because he doesn't even look at scoring at the basket.
Nope.
And every time he tries to score, it's a step back three. Yeah, it's a little Ben Simmons-ish where he gets a little skittish of becoming I can't believe this is the man that averaged 36 points in the modern era. It's actually insane. This dude was putting up 50-point triple-double games consistently, and now he's kind of nervous
in that first run with OKC. Like when he was running around. Like I remember that Spurs game he had at OKC, the young OKC. He looked really good in the playoffs. I don't know what happened.
I'm telling you, man. I think a lot of it's he's just older now because we forget James Harden is old. He should not be playing even at an all-star caliber level in the regular season. He's still pretty close to that, 23 a game and 8 assists. Those are all-star caliber numbers, but as I mentioned, the physicality in the playoffs is a little different. You get a lot less foul calls where James Harden's the guy that he's a pretty high IQ basketball player, so he knows how to manipulate the refs to get those cheesy free throws.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's not getting those cheesy free throws, you're leaving 5 to 6 points off the table, and then he becomes from a 23-point scorer to become an 18, 17-point scorer.
Yep.
So, he's not able to deal with the physicality now. And obviously, we're seeing he gets exposed again especially offensively. Defensively, I didn't expect much of him defensively. The reason you have Jared Allen and Evan Mobley is for their defense and to cover these guys. But offensively, James Harden is a non-factor. He doesn't look to score the basketball. He creates, he drives to pass. He doesn't even look at the basket.
No.
He doesn't even look at the basket. And a lot of his confidence thing, a lot of it, his shot wasn't even falling either. So, yeah, right now, this Cavs story, as I mentioned, there's one more chapter left. It is the perfect chapter because you give me LeBron James over James Harden any day of the week. Am I wrong?
At 50. I'd rather
if you think about it right now, if they had this exact same Cavs team and you had LeBron James instead of James Harden, it would have been a different series. Do you agree or not disagree?
I wholeheartedly agree with that. It would have been one game longer.
One game longer.
I don't know. And you want to know why? You want to know why? Because who obliterated them on the Knicks? Who obliterated them?
Everybody, kind of.
But not Cat.
I'm about to say, I think it's
Cat, right? Okay, so you just made the point.
The whole team kind of went off.
They have Jared Allen and Evan Mobley there, right?
Yeah.
Be defenders. Who the hell is guarding on the perimeter? And you're telling me a 41-year-old LeBron James would have made the difference over Dean Wade or James Harden?
Oh, yeah, over Dean Wade? Absolutely.
Well, then what you're saying, they would have removed Harden. So what, are you starting Max Strus?
No. Okay. Next year, I'm assuming it's going to be the old big three-ish of Mitchell, Harden, and LeBron.
Okay.
And
I might want to get Mitchell out of there, too.
Okay, no, they need a Mitchell.
If I get something nice out of there.
They need at least one guy below the age of 32. They need at least one guy below that age.
Oh, yeah.
But they were the highest payroll team in the league this year. They were the only team to hit the second apron. They have $50 million going to Mobley next year. $42 million player.
Oh my God!
James Harden and Donovan Mitchell's. Plus Jared Allen's already gotten paid. There's a reason. Man. There's a reason. The only other three to four guys in their rotation are Max Strus, Sam Merrill, Dean Wade, and who? Who else? Am I missing one? I mean, they can't afford. anybody. So you're telling me LeBron's going to take a huge pay cut to go play? Harden's player option is $42 million. He's opting in, like you said.
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I feel like they might need to attach a pick to clean up the salary cap.
So they'd trade Harden and someone else.
Pick contract, reconstruct.
Who would you pick out of Mobley and Allen to be traded? If you had to trade one of those
to be traded, I'd trade Jared Allen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He probably is easier to get traded.
Mobley showed a little more offensive package this series. Like the shooting is one thing. I'm like, oh, he's actually a pretty good 3-point shooter.
My point is they need defenders. They need perimeter defenders. They don't have any, like not one.
Yeah.
Dean Wade, you can tell me Dean Wade's a solid defender. I'll give you 25 dudes that half of them aren't even in the playoffs.
And we know Donovan's not going to – it's just it's over. He's not doing
And I'm sorry, but LeBron,
he's
he's an unbelievable defender in his heyday. At 42 years old next year, you can't ask him to be the primary number one defender.
Oh, that's why you're called the chosen one for a reason, man. You're coming back home to Cleveland. This is his final story.
Zeus talking the storyline.
Yeah, you're talking storyline. I'm talking
LeBron got a media company. Like he's making that Netflix special right now. Yes. I'm telling you, Maverick Carter.
A little ABC Christmas
special right now. The King returns.
90 minutes.
The return of the King. And how I wonder with the
Zeus been in the writing room.
I'm telling you, this does not sound like.
No, I'm with you, but they gotta make. I'm with you, but they gotta make other stuff to make that possible. Like
and they don't have the money, is my point. But they don't have the money.
They gotta make other adjustments.
But I don't think LeBron's going back to the Lakers after the Lakers.
100%.
So where else is he gonna go? It ain't gonna be the Knicks no more. Like the Knicks are in the finals. Like
he'll 100% go to Cleveland. I'm just saying.
Even if the Knicks lose, it doesn't make sense to go to the Knicks.
No, absolutely not. He's riding the coattail of Jalen Brunson and Cat and those boys over there. No, absolutely not.
And who would the Knicks want to give up?
So Donovan Mitchell is not a true 1A on a basketball team right there.
Okay, he
needs 42-year-old LeBron James to say,
you got him, people. You got him.
You got him. He's in that Kyrie Irving mold. He's in that Kyrie Irving mold where he's an undersized scorer. Like that's his role on a roster. And those guys are always the number 2 option. I never want to maybe Jalen Brunson could break the mold because that's kind of the mold he's in. He still got to prove they could win that championship. But that undersized scoring guard, you still need that bigger guy. And I'll still take a 42-year-old LeBron James as that guy is a better option over whatever the Cavs get right now because they kind of went all in with James Harden.
So, I agree. Yeah. I'm not a Harden fan.
You kind of like you had young players and you had. Even if this didn't work out, maybe they could pivot. And you can't really pivot no more. Now you got to go all in now because they made an all-in move to get an old James Harden. And this storyline, stop it. It's going to happen.
It's going to sell tickets. Look, Dan Gilbert.
It's going to sell tickets. It's going to make a documentary. And for that 90 minutes, have that perfect ending, man.
Yeah, you know what? No, you know what, Sean? It's only going to be 60 because they ain't even going to make the conference finals. Let me tell you that. That's why. At least at the Last Dance, you knew what the ending was like. Step back 3, come on, man. Look. Here's my equivalent. That's like asking Michael Jordan to be the primary defender on the Washington Wizards in 2002.
Yep.
And he just wasn't. They barely made the. Did they even make the playoffs when he came back? I don't even know. So look, on paper, does it sound great? Will it make them a lot of money? Yes, absolutely. Would it get them through a Knicks team that is arguably the hottest team in basketball?
Not this Knicks team. Not this Knicks team.
No, not this one currently, no.
The only team, I would argue that the Pacers of last year could beat a LeBron Cavs team based on how hot they were. You're just going to run into teams like that. Maybe Sam Merrill pulls an Alex Caruso and drops 30 a game next year off the bench. Look, if that's what happens, God bless him, man. And, enjoy your run. But this Cavs team, I agree with you, Zoo. They're going to get LeBron. That's number 1. But number 2, you got to just get some depth 3 and D guys that you can just throw out there. Like, look what the Spurs find in a guy like Carter Bryant. The guy, I get it. He was crying on the field because he made one mistake. Well, that one mistake that if he consistently makes that, could force him to not get a contract and stay in the NBA. I want a guy with that much heart fighting. Dean Wade, Sam Merrill, Max Strus, they're all great guys, but they're spot-up 3-point shooters. Dean Wade is Ryan Anderson, right, from back in the day. Yeah. Strus and Sam Merrill, if Merrill hits that 3-point shot in the comeback game, maybe the series is totally different. And it should have gone down. It was halfway down. He's a good 3-point shooter.
It was halfway down.
But you have Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. Those are 3-point shooters. Usually you get a bunch of 3-point shooters for a guy that is a better passer and a playmaker. A Stephon Castle could benefit from something like that, and he has, right? We've seen guys like even an SGA, his passing goes up when he's not scoring. Donovan Mitchell, if he's having a bad scoring game, this team is going absolutely nowhere. And 41, 42-year-old LeBron ain't going to make a difference. So for me, it's all about their cap situation. They got to make decisions to your point on maybe Mobley or Jared Allen, deciding whether or not to get LeBron and how much he might be willing to take a pay cut. Maybe he gets maybe this is, hey, give me some ownership or something like that. I don't know what he does. But my point is that this team has a lot of decisions to make and not a lot of room to make them. And that's a really shitty situation to be in any organization, but especially in the NBA when it comes to that luxury tax and going way over and the inflated contracts. So look, is Evan Mobley a $50 million guy? I don't know, but on paper he is per their payroll. So you got to pay him. They're in no man's land as a good team. And that's the worst.
It is.
It's just, I just don't know what the options are. Like, you got to get creative with the quote unquote big three of Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen, and you got to figure out how you're going to move if you're going to get LeBron. How you're going to move one of those guys to fetch something of like those 3-and-D caliber guys that you're talking about. It just gets a little tricky and weird because it's like, who's in the Donovan Mitchell business? Like, where would you get value and you would trade him where that team taking him on was like, okay, I want to add him to a team. Like, I think he could be a nice number 2 somewhere, but it's like, where would he be that number 2 at? And then it's like, how much am I giving up? Because he, quote unquote, is a number 2 playoff wise, but like, it's kind of the same thing with Harden. Like, this is an all-star level player in the regular season. So that's what they're going to be going off of. So it's like, where do you see him fitting to fetch what you would need in terms of 3-and-D? Because most teams outside of their star player, if they have one that they have on their team, they do what most teams do. They surround them with 3-and-D guys, like how Luka had it with that 1 year in Dallas. So
Timberwolves,
it's just going to be it's going to be really tricky to see what he would do. So that's why I brought up Mobley and Allen, because it's like you might have to make a real decision of getting off of one of those guys to maybe put your team in a better space to have real defensive, because it's really just on the perimeter. They need guys on the perimeter that can defend. So like you would have to maybe come off one of those guys to get 1 or 2 of those guys to be in a space that you could do that. And I don't know out of those 3 if Donovan Mitchell gets you those guys. I think that's why I said Mobley. Like, you would have to, because Mobley has the potential, but Mobley's also another one of those guys where it's like, is he truly ever going to be a 1 for the team? Like, can you honestly picture Mobley being a number 1 guy in the playoff? I don't.
No,
I'll give you Patrick Williams.
Like, I know he has the obviously
he's a good 3-and-D guy, man. He can hit a corner 3.
Yeah, he's like basically a 7-foot 3-and-D guy. So it's like, I don't see him taking over playoff games. I don't think his offensive bag is super advanced. Like you said, he can shoot and he can be effective around the rim, but I just don't see his game, at least where he got picked, progressing to that moment. That's why I was like, it might be, and when I'm saying Jared Allen is a good player in him, but I think Jared Allen fits in if you're bringing LeBron in that type of timeline, because you need a rim running guy that can defend the paint. Mobley is kind of in that no man's land. Like I said, if you want to keep Mitchell, you got that, he'd be the Kyrie Irving, the off ball, just go get buckets guy. So it's like maybe Mobley, you'll be able to fetch and I don't even know off the top of my head where you could trade him to get guys.
I think you'll get a pretty good price
if
you opt that way. I'm not sure if that's Mobley, the right decision, but I absolutely. Yes. I feel like a good organization get that guy and mold him. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you are kind of caught in just a no man's land with Cleveland, because like I said, you made that trade with James Harden, and he credit to his agent James Harden. He just figures out how to get himself in the picture every year. Every year he does it. Sixers, Clippers, now Cleveland. Like, he just does it.
I'm looking back at that trade. I'm looking at it. The Cavs also gave up a 2nd-round pick too. So they thought in their return that they were giving less asset in Darius Garland to get an old James Harden. Like, it's actually shocking.
And then Darius Garland had a great end of the season.
Oh, yeah. He got healthy and he was a very productive player. And I'm sorry, the youth, like the age gap is just ridiculous.
They got impatient.
Harden at least has maybe 2 years left-ish, while Garland at least still has his whole career to go on.
Yep.
And it's also them just trying to placate towards Donovan. It's like, hey, look, we're getting James Harden, a proven regular season guy, but he's not. Let's not talk about the playoffs. But we got a guy who we know you could maybe count on in the playoffs. So, they're probably sold it to him like, hey, with your experience in the playoffs and James Harden, like just all that, we're going to figure this out. We're going to get over the hump. And I think they kind of looked at this.
Oh my God!
I mean, you probably could have been, if your management with Cleveland, you probably could have been in that Raptor series. Like, I think we made a mistake. Like, even though they won it. And then they won the Detroit series. Like, I think in that Raptor series, they kind of thought like,
placating to Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. You're right. That was not good because Donovan signed off on that trade,
and it was his. And it's like, we'll go back to it once again. He's a great player, but he is not a franchise-altering player that you give all of the grace to and anything that he wants. He's not that player. It's not Wembanyama. It's not even Shea. It's none of those guys.
I think it's Cleveland was stuck in that, again, post LeBron era, and I guess Kyrie for that matter of fact, like of just like we had that chase the high of winning in 2016. We got these draft picks. I mean, they messed up the Anthony Bennett pick, but then they were able to get more draft picks. They hit on those guys, quote unquote, like Mobley, Jared Allen, all those guys, and I think Jared Allen got traded there, but they did a good job assembling the team. So in their head, they're just thinking, if you're just trying to map it out, Donovan Mitchell is a star based on name and his high scoring ability.
Yes.
But, and I don't want to say management made this decision, even though they are the ones pulling the trigger, like the GM and stuff. But it's like, I think in their head, they're thinking, well, our team is just so stacked and it's so good that Donovan Mitchell just needs to come in and be the scorer. And we'll just, the other guys like Mobley, whoever else is going to eventually rise to the occasion, and that's all just going to mesh. I could see the vision of it, but to your point, when you are depending on a guy like Donovan Mitchell, who is a smaller guard, it's just not a lot of examples in the playoffs of it working. It just never works. And it's not, any shade towards Donovan because he can't help that he's 6'2", 6'3", but it's just, it doesn't work. And and to me, I'm almost want to go on the record and say it'll never work. Like Jalen Brunson is the outlier right now, but there's going to be more outliers. Not like, because the league is getting bigger, so it's like there's not even a lot of guys like Donovan Mitchell left in the league. Like, and the reason why he's able to get away with what he gets away with is because his wingspan. If he had short arms, he'd be out the league because he would not be able to do those over the hand. Like a lot of his game is creativity with his and it's because his arms are long. He can just get to the rim faster, and he's super like I wouldn't say he'd be athlete because he's super athletic, but it does help when you're like super athletic and you have that wingspan. Like it just he plays like a 6'5", 6'6" guard. And that's why a lot of people get frustrated with the guarding stuff, because it's like, dude, maybe you would want to take it personal and guard Jalen Brunson and not leave Harden getting hunted. What was it? How many minutes was he getting hunted that whole entire fourth quarter? Like it's just like, I don't know. It's just tough. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. Like I said, all signs maybe point to LeBron coming back, but they're gonna need a lot more secondary options.
It would have been a lot easier if they had Darius Garland on the roster. So I think that asset is significantly easier to trade
than Harden.
Compared to James Harden's player option, where he's going to opt in and taking the $42 million. That I don't think anybody in the league wants that kind.
Bulls can afford it.
Yeah, can you think of a single? Okay, you know what? You give us James Harden, give us some Cavalier picks, okay.
You want some picks attached to it? Good luck with that.
If we're paying to deal with the devil, I need some sugar with that. Are you kidding
and
me?
Dude, it better be like 2028.
I'm
next
telling you,
year.
this Cleveland franchise can go downhill real quick.
Listen, if I'm the Cleveland GM, you're literally they're gonna say, hey, we're giving you this amount of points, and I don't know who your new GM is, so I don't know if he's gonna take the bait, which I hope he doesn't. But it's like they're gonna talk themselves into telling you, look at how many guys in the league are doing what he's doing in the regular season. That's literally what they're not going to talk about the playoffs because they're going to think about the Bulls like, you guys are not going to the playoffs. We're focusing on the regular season. They're going to get you on that, and they're going to say, okay, we'll give you James Harden with this opted in for this year, and what is it? What they call it? Cash considerations. That's what you get. Cash considerations to balance the books. To balance the books.
Man,
that's what you get. And if I'm the Bulls, I'm disconnecting. Was it Kobe Altman? I'm disconnecting the number from him. I'm never talking to him again. Because don't ever try to sell me.
Kobe Altman's gonna make he's gonna make a lot of phone calls. All 29 teams in the NBA, because he's got to pivot after.
And to be honest, I can't. Dude, you can't dismiss the fact that he'll be able to make a deal because people keep falling for it. Like people just keep getting into James Harden business. So he'll probably find somebody that'll take it. I don't know who.
He's got one more in him for sure.
Yeah.
One more sucker team. Oh my God.
Yeah, we'll see. But getting into our last topic, I can start off with the Knicks. I do think it's a little bit disrespectful on their end with kind of trying to say they had an easy path. Because while we always normally talk about the Eastern Conference being obviously easier than the Western Conference, I do think from Mike Brown being just, I don't want to say innovative, but being more open-minded to how he uses the roster, to Jalen Brunson's ascension, to, OG, like all the guys on that team, it's not like they all took like massive steps, but they've gotten better since their last couple of playoff rounds and stuff that they played a couple years ago. So I want to give more credit to them improving. And I do think that how Brunson has came through this year, just from start to finish, and getting them to the finals, I think is a massive. I want to say it's again, I could point it to Mike Brown and say like him being less off the ball, and then when he's on the ball, he's more effective. I think that's a huge thing, and I think that's grown his game. Because he kind of has gotten, I don't want to say unfairly, but had that heliocentric because he played with Luka, and that kind of was a tag with him. And I think to a point it still is, but it ain't as massive as it used to be. And I think it's because the team is playing better and he's moving the ball more. And Cat is taking a little bit of I think it gets overblown a little bit about Cat being this massive playmaker. I just think they're running offense to him a little bit more, which is helping Brunson not become as heliocentric. And I want to give credit to that. I just think the team has improved. They've met the moment. And it's just, to me, if you haven't lost a game in a month, and in the fashion of how they have not only swept these last two teams, they have made like massive like impacts. Like not just, okay, we're blowing teams out in these last two rounds. Mm-hmm. That to me makes me feel like they're more locked in and focused. I want to give them credit for that. I think they're a team that obviously is going to be up to a tall task if you get the Spurs or the OKC Thunder, but I don't know. I hate to keep comparing stuff to Indiana Pacers because they just shot the three with just this. That's just not normal. Like that's still just one of the like, what? How did Indiana's in the finals are shooting threes crazy and they almost beat OKC? But confidence is a real thing, and I think whoever they play, I don't think with either team in the West, even though they are stacked and they're loaded, I don't think the Knicks are going to be just swept. Like, I think if anything, they're going to go to 6 games with either team. Mm-hmm. Now, it's going to be hard to pick, and if you're the Knicks, you're probably rooting for the Spurs, but I just want to give credit to the head coach and, Jalen Brunson kind of accepting new coaching, because that is, I know it's the NBA and it's a business, but it is a thing where you're getting a brand new coach, and it's not like Mike Brown has always been a good coach, but it's not like he's going in there like, okay, like there's a Steve Kerr or whoever. It's like, hey, he's got to still win the respect of the guys, and he did that. So I think that's that. I want to give that credit. So
I was literally going to say this. I was like, you got to give Mike Brown a lot of credit because he's doing exactly what people gave Thibodeau crap for, which was not trusting the bench. Right? We always talk about that. Maybe their bench wasn't as deep, in those years. But you see a guy like Landry Shamet coming in and just going 4 for 4 from 3, 5 for 6 from the field. And you're like, this is why you need to, yes, be a good coach and be personable with your players and, give them critique and tell them what role they need to fill when they get out on the court. But it's also just giving them the opportunity to play. Like how many guys that were on non-guaranteed contracts. This isn't the trust the process Sixers where the whole team was on non-guaranteed contracts. This is an NBA Finals contender giving a guy a 2-way contract, and now he's getting heavy minutes for a role player, and he's making a huge impact and arguably hit the biggest shot of the series with that corner bouncing 3. Call it luck. I don't care. It's a shooting touch. You're getting that role as a good quality shooter. So I agree, Sean. You got to shout out Mike Brown. He's been a fantastic head coach. I think it's a mix of both. Look, there's nothing wrong with having an easy path to the finals, but we've seen in other sports when teams don't really get fully tested for a while. I know they got tested a little bit in that Hawks series, and I am proud that my Hawks gave them the best test. They were my dark horse for the year, and they did give them a little run for their money. But I'm not comparing him to, because they're very different teams, but we saw what happened when the Patriots had that run to the playoffs, right, and made the Super Bowl, and then they ran into a legit team. Completely different sport, I get it, but the principle can stay the same. Now, this Knicks team is the hottest in the league right now, but we haven't seen them play against a defensive team like the Spurs and Thunder, because both the Spurs and Thunder are great offensive teams, and they're doing this to each other. So that just tells me, look, it's Jalen Brunson or die. Mikal Bridges can create his own shot, but he's better off the ball. OG Anunoby, same exact way. Karl Anthony Towns, he can become a black hole when you rely on him a little too much, to your point. He can be a little heel-centric. I would argue that their success this year has been because he's taken a little bit more of a back seat, become more of a playmaker, especially in these playoffs, and that's helped the team overall. But you're asking, it's Jalen Brunson or die, and the perimeter defenders on both of those West teams are next level. And we've seen that showcased in the West Finals. So they're a great team. I think, yes, they did have an easier, quote unquote, path to the playoffs. I think if they would have had to go through the Celtics, even with all their woes this year, I don't think we'd be having the same conversation. And they could have gone 6 with the Celtics, and we still would have been like, this is a dominating playoff performance by the New York Knicks. But we would have said they had to go through the Celtics, right? They had to get through them. But the Sixers, they just came through. That was a joke of a series. I mean, we can all agree. Like, even like, come on. Like, Paul George was the second best player on that team. Like, Embiid in and out that whole series. But to Zoo's point earlier, they're closing out games with a damn near 40-point differential. They have the highest point differential in league history. You have to applaud it. But what scares me is the fact that, yes, they seem tenacious. They're not partying after winning the Eastern Conference Finals. They're right back on the plane, going back, to lock in and enjoy this rest. But now they're going to have to play the 2 toughest teams in the league, record-wise, and showcasing it within these playoffs. Makes me a little hesitant, and it's why I wouldn't be leaning the Knicks against either one of these 2 teams. But to your point, Sean, 6-game series, I could totally see that, absolutely. But it would be a very hard-fought 2 games that they would win to make that series competitive.
Absolutely, because right now this Knicks team, they were knocking at the door for the last couple of years, especially last year when I was like, wow, this might be the year.
Yep.
But the firing of Tom Thibodeau was much, much needed. Yep. One thing we learned about Mike Brown is in the first couple of games when they were down against the Hawks, he had to pivot, had to make some adjustments on the offensive side. Wasn't getting it done. Had to use Karl Anthony Towns more as a playmaker. Couldn't run the Jalen Brunson, I call him the fourth quarter closing show, because they still run the Jalen Brunson fourth quarter closing show where he just kind of dominates, goes one-on-one and closes games out. But Mike Brown as a head coach, he took the criticism like, okay, we're down right now. We lost 2 straight games to Atlanta by 1 point each. Like, I got to make some adjustments, help this team better position this team to win, because if they lost to Atlanta, he might have been fired. He might have been fired if he lost to Atlanta.
Potentially.
This is a team where they came with the expectation, like, they went all in with the Mikal Bridges trade right now. So as mentioned, like, we shouldn't be surprised the Knicks are in the finals, like, because they were one of the few all-in type of teams in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at Mike Brown coming in first-time head coach for the New York Knicks, and all the stops he made. Like, it's crazy. This guy coached LeBron James, Kobe, assistant coach to Steph Curry. My good, like, he coached everybody. He coached every legend in the modern era. Like, he actually did, which is shout out to his agent, because I think he's an all right coach. But again, all those opportunities, like, he's gotten a million opportunities. But right now with this New York Knicks thing, he might be the perfect spot right now, because he's kind of the anti-Thibodeau, where he's just like, it's all about the playoffs. It's about peaking at the right time, at the right moment. And right now, you don't want to peak too early in the regular season. You want to be playing your best basketball at the end of the year. And we clearly seen that, because in the first round, they weren't even playing that well when they blew that massive game. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they actually blew that game. But you're talking right now where Karl Anthony Towns, it's crazy to say this, he's a pretty good defender now. Yeah. Like, Karl Anthony Towns, one thing, like, he's always been a liability in the pick and roll. Like, he's not much of a rim protector. And in this playoffs right now, Karl Anthony Towns is kind of a do-it-all type center right now, where he had a couple of big blocks down there. Like, I noticed, like, ooh, Cat actually playing some defense down there. And he got his hands on a couple of loose balls, because he's averaging a steal and a half per game and a block per game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And especially the rim protection from Cat is one thing I never thought of him as a good rim protector. He's averaging close to a block and a half per game in these playoff series right now, and that's been noticed. And as you mentioned, Cat is kind of more of a secondary role as a scorer where he's not even like the second option sometimes, second scoring wise. It's one of the wing players as it could be Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby. Those guys get a lot more shot at times and more plays called for them. Well, sometimes Cat in the fourth quarter, he's just passing. He's a floor spacer. He's a passer to the open guy. But he took a step back, but he's playing that rim protector role. He's getting heavy rebound. He got 12 rebounds per game this series, only 16 points, but he's shooting 54% from the field and 50% from three. So he's playing a different type of role in this offense, and it's perfect because I don't want Karl-Anthony Towns post-up plays. Karl-Anthony Towns stopped doing those stupid fouls, if you remember, with the Timberwolves back in the day.
And even last year.
Exactly, where he's just fouling out of games. So the stupid fouls.
I forgot he had that problem. Yeah.
He had a man because I remember, oh my God, because when Mitchell Robinson comes in, like as great of as an offensive rebounder that brother is, that is the worst offensive player shooter I've ever seen in my life.
Unless he's playing pickup.
When he's playing pickup, he looks pretty elite.
Instagram dribble, step back. Give me a little Ben Simmons vibe, but this dude is so ass from the free throw line that he's getting bullied on Instagram and had to shut down his Instagram account. Like he's an atrocity from
New
the
York
free throw
Knicks.
line.
That's Knicks fans right there.
Absolutely. Yeah. You got to call it that BS because this dude is one of the worst free throw shooters of all time, and especially in the playoffs. He's shooting 14% from the free throw line.
Come on, all right, man. You ain't got to say his stats, man. Come on, man. That's cruel.
Yeah, but that was like at least
kind of worth it.
The previous series, he was at 37%. Oh, 37%.
Regression.
Regression. Oh yeah, he started out at 38. So not gonna lie, he's getting worse now. He went from 30. Like I don't know how you get worse from 39% because the only way to stop the Knicks is the hack of Mitch. You can't run that beautiful Knicks offense. Like I gotta watch 4 minutes of Mitch Robinson panting and shooting that ugly ass free throw with no arc, and he says he's practiced with the shooting coach. Mitch Robinson, that is the weakness of this team because when he's in the ball club offensive, I'm a hack of Mitch. Like I'm pulling up Missoula.
It's true though, yeah.
Like it's like he is such a detriment on offense, so that's why it's so important that Cat is on the court because he's now, I think, a pretty good defender. Now he's definitely not a minus defender now, which he used to be a minus defender. So I'm not gonna say he's a plus defender, but he's a solid defender now for this offense, for this defense right now. So shout out to Karl-Anthony Towns adjusting his game and doing other stuff outside of dropping buckets because that's what he's known for. Because that Mitchell Robinson sideshow, I don't need to see that right now. So shout out to Karl-Anthony Towns for pretty much adjusting his game to what his team needs him. So shout out to Big Cat right now because he's Big Cat right now. The way he's playing with that ferocity right now. Because shout out to Big Cat and shout out to 5 first-round picks, Mikal Bridges, because he's shooting the lights out right now.
Finally.
He turned up last series against Philly. Philly is where he started turning it up, shooting 57 over 60%. And in this series against the guy, he shot 57%. So Mikal Bridges has been an absolute laser this series. And shout out to OG Anunoby, who came in post-injury. He had a rough couple of games that first game, but OG Anunoby is a bucket for this team right now. So everybody's doing their role. Shout out to Josh Hart because Jesus Christ, he's one of those
big game 3.
Big. They just left him wide open. So he had some big threes, but he's in that Alex Caruso type where he's that physicality. He plays that defense. He gets every rebound. Like he's one of those Swiss Army knives. I'm just like, this Knicks team's chemistry is off the chain right now, and he's part of it because he's the glue of this entire roster right now. So I'm actually giving them a legitimate shot to win the championship right now, especially the longer this Spurs Thunder series goes.
Good point,
the higher percentage I give it to the Knicks right now. So if I'm the Knicks right now, I don't really care who makes it out. I want this to go 7 games because, man, that hammy going to be a little more tighter, man, if you play 7-game series right now, right? So you want that series to go blow for blow as long as you can because right now they took care of business. They
and
got
you want to know
sweep.
Part of why?
They didn't play around.
No, they didn't play around, but also of the 3 teams that they played coming off a playoff series,
and
potentially this one, all of them were coming off a Game 7.
Absolutely. This is a great point because the Cleveland Cavaliers, the reason they kind of gave up, they kind of ran out of juice.
Did you know what? You see how long? 30 days in a row, a month of playing back-to-back every other night. They played a game every other night since April 29th. That's crazy.
Exactly. Well, it's crazy because you're putting yourself in that situation.
Exactly.
You're not closing game sixes.
This is the only series where it's acceptable. The Spurs Thunder.
Exactly. Because right now, like game sixes, they missed those opportunities where they could have taken care of business.
Yep.
But you didn't. You go game seven. Obviously, you win game seven, but those tired legs follow you. And the Knicks right now, they're hoping those tired legs follow the San Antonio Spurs or the Oklahoma City Thunder because they're seeing pretty right now. They're watching this game right now on Peacock right now. They're taking notes right now what to do with this defense to deal with these two elite offensive teams and defensive teams, two of the most complete teams in the NBA. But I give the Knicks probably a 40. I'll give them 40% chance. So I'll give them 60-40. They're gonna be dogs, but I wouldn't be shocked that they win the championship. Versus like
me
at
either.
The beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, I kind of put them in because the East is just so bad. But after what they did in the last 11 games, I'm like, okay, this looks like a championship team, especially the win differential in these games where it's with the KD Warriors and the Jordan Bulls of what they did in the playoffs before the finals. Clearly, this team's not at that level, but what they've done was at that level.
Yeah.
I do think, too, that 40% is a good percentage to have the Knicks at. But in closing, if the Knicks get game one, I might bump that up to 60% because they have shown that once they get on top of you,
they could close.
Yeah, they go full throttle. And it's something about the momentum, the confidence. I don't think that could be shortchanged at all, whoever they're playing on the other side. So if they get game one and, because I'm not going to go crazy and say game two because I feel like either of those teams of the West are going to split at 1-1. Because if they were to get game two, then it's just curtains. They might sweep to the finals, which would be unprecedented. But I think if they were to get game one, trust and believe that I think it's a real possibility that goes up past 50% because I just think they're rolling right now. And they got a lot of guys who are just hungry, switchable. And like I said, everybody feels like they've improved. So we'll see. I'm excited to see the Knicks in the playoff or the finals and going to be really interested to see who they end up playing. So you guys tune into the podcast, Apple, Spotify, Tyson Talks, Instagram, Tyson Talks on Facebook, all the socials. Make sure you give us a 5-star review on YouTube and on the listening platforms that I just named, Spotify and Apple. So for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.